I've been looking at the UCB notes since Sarah let me have them to decide what I could talk about. And I came across the story of Lot's wife being turned into a pillar of salt. I noticed the UCB notes ask the question, how much do you look back into the past? And was questioning whether we should actually look back to the past, because God seemed to be saying in that story that he wanted people to concentrate on what is going forward. However, I have to admit, and Sarah will back me up on this, I'm terrible at saying, when I was your age, and then repeating how I used to behave. And something that really annoys Sarah, and Hannah and Paul as well. However, I suppose I do look back because I remember the times that were really good when I was breaking through into doing youth leadership and being able to do things and try things. I think that's one of the things that we need to look at now. It's very easy when we look back at the lockdown and start looking back to things like what was school like before we had to go into lockdown. What was church like? What was the youth group like? And it's nice at times to be able to think back to those times. But as we start coming out of the lockdown, I think it's important that we start looking forward. We need to start looking at the positives of when people go back to school and when they go back to work. It'll be very different, new challenges, new ways of doing things. We need to look forward and see what God's trying to do in those circumstances. And I think the same will also be true about how we do church, how we do the youth group as we move forward. And I think what we really need to do is to keep looking at what God is wanting us to see from these things and what God is wanting us to learn from these experiences.